Today, we're diving into a new wave of Indian innovators. And these aren't just your typical entrepreneurs, these are serious problem solvers. They were handpicked from a massive pool of talent, all with one goal: to build the future of healthcare, AI, and even technology itself. So let's see what they're up to.
So, where did this all start? Well, the journey to find these game changers kicked off with a truly staggering number. We're talking over 3,000 aspiring entrepreneurs from every single corner of the country, all competing for a shot, each with their own unique vision.
And out of that intense competition, that huge number, only 8 elite startups were chosen to move forward. Just 8 teams with the ideas, the drive, and, the real potential to completely reshape entire industries.
So here's our game plan. We're going to explore how these founders are reinventing healthcare and weaving AI into our daily lives. Then, we'll look at the actual tools they're building for the next era of innovation. And finally, and this is crucial, we'll dig into the essential mindset that separates a good idea from a truly great company.
All right, first up, let's dive into healthcare. This is where founders are using technology to go head-to-head with some of the nation's most critical, most difficult health challenges.
This quote from Dr. Jayanti of Astray Services. Wow, it just perfectly sums up the sheer scale of the problem she's solving. She's talking about screening for oral cancer. And, just think about it. The total impossibility of trying to rely on the current manual methods for a population of over 70 crore people.
And check this out. This comparison just shows you what a massive leap we're talking about. The old way, it's a subjective visual check with an accuracy that's frankly barely better than a coin flip. The new way, it's a nanotech biosensor. It's painless, it's highly accurate, and it can work anywhere. No lab or even electricity required. We're not just talking about an improvement here. This is a total game changer.
And a very similar kind of bottleneck exists in cancer pathology. The whole process of manually analyzing tissue slides is incredibly slow. The results depend heavily on which expert you can get to, and they're mostly in the big cities. And the most advanced molecular tests, they are way, way too expensive for most people.
So, what's the solution? It's an AI-powered operating system. It actually digitizes the physical slides and uses algorithms to deliver real-time analysis. This helps doctors recommend the exact right drug therapy for the right patient. It's all about making that expert-level care accessible and affordable for everyone.
Okay, so this kind of transformation, it's not just happening in high-tech labs or hospitals. The next wave of startups is busy weaving AI right into the fabric of our daily lives, taking it from being just a simple assistant to something more, a proactive agent that actually gets things done for us.
Think about how surprisingly clunky it is to buy something through an AI assistant right now. You find a product, sure, but then what happens? You get kicked over to some other website where you have to manually type in your shipping address and your payment details, all over again.
But now, check out how Prava Payments is completely streamlining that whole thing. They're building the financial plumbing that lets your AI agent finish the purchase for you securely with just one command. So you go from 7 steps down to just 3, and you never even have to leave the AI you were using. And this idea of proactive AI, it doesn't stop there. You've got Antimatter, which is basically building an Android for earbuds, turning them into these voice-first assistants that can order your food or book a cab. At the same time, another startup called is upgrading regular security cameras into smart guards that don't just record what happened, they understand it and can alert you to an emergency as it's unfolding.
So we've seen products for patients, we've seen products for consumers. But what about the startups building the tools for other innovators? This next group is forging the fundamental building blocks for the next generation of creators.
First, you got to understand the massive gap between building software and building hardware. With software, you can test a new idea in seconds, right? But with hardware, a single design change can take months and cost you thousands of dollars. Not to mention you usually have to order at least 5,000 units just to get started. Well, Placemation is tackling this problem head-on by, and get this, literally bringing the electronics factory to your desk. They're building these compact machines that let developers create and test circuit boards right at home, slashing the iteration time from months down to a single day. The goal is to make hardware development as fast and agile as software.
And then you've got other founders building these foundational platforms for our digital and physical well-being. O3 Security is creating an integrated cybersecurity platform that protects a company's entire supply chain, giving you the full picture that isolated solutions always miss. And at the same time,
Bloom Rehab is tackling a massive healthcare challenge by building affordable portable robots to deliver the gold standard of stroke therapy 3 hours a day, right in a patient's own home.
So, we've seen some absolutely incredible breakthrough ideas, right? From AI that pays for your shopping to tiny desktop factories. But, and this is the big question, is a great idea really enough to build a successful company?
And that, right there, brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, the mindset. Because beyond all the tech and the business plans, true success is really driven by an internal toolkit of skills that every single founder has to develop.
Turns out there are 3 non-technical skills that are just essential. First up is storytelling, the power to build a really compelling story that connects with investors, with customers, and with your team. Second, negotiation, being able to understand the person across the table, not just their argument. And finally, self-awareness, truly knowing your own strengths and weaknesses. That's the bedrock of effective leadership and building a great team.
And that really leaves us with this one last thought. In the end, it all comes down to that internal narrative. The most powerful stories are actually the ones founders tell themselves. That's the real engine of motivation, of resilience. So, as you think about all these incredible ideas, which one do you think is powered by the strongest internal story to really become a household name?